Where's the remote? Found it.
Turn off the lights.
All right.
Did you grab the drinks?
Yeah, I got them.
Okay, I'm making the popcorn.
It's starting. Come on.
All right. Okay, I'm here. Hit the button. Hi, I'm Jill.
And I'm Gianna. And welcome to the We Watch It All podcast, where we watch it all and give you our opinions.
AKA the opinions no one ever asked for.
And today, we're doing our first movie.
Yeah.
We've never done a movie.
A movie.
Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Very exciting. You have dye on your hair. I'm going to expose you right now. You have dye on your hair.
I'm multitasking.
She's multitasking. She came home. She said, all right, we got stuff to do today. I'm going to dye my hair so it dyes while we record the episode. So I'm sorry. I had to expose her.
So we have a time clock, so
we got to go.
Let's go.
So a little preface it. We're going to do spoiler-free and then spoilers towards the end. Just so, you know, if you wanted like an idea and you haven't seen the movie yet, you can kind of like get an idea of what we thought. Yeah. But then we'll talk about like some more things in detail and spoilers. So check, because obviously we're recording it live in action. Are you asking me to check your hairline? It looks fine. Yeah, it looks okay. So check the description wherever you're watching. On YouTube, it will be cut up by the chapters or whatever. And then in the description of wherever you're listening to it on a podcast service, we will put where it is, because obviously we don't know what we're recording. Don't you read my notes?
I can't read your notes.
Oh, good. All right, so let's give some of our spoiler-free thoughts first. Let's begin with that.
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
You.
All right, well, I'll start. First off, the one word that I feel like you could just describe the movie, I feel like it's like stunning. It's just beautiful. Like that's the word every time I would put on like one of my personal Instagram, or I do have an Instagram where I talk about Funko Pops I collect. But I'm not gonna give that out. I always put the word I came back to was like stunning and amazing, because it just visually was so beautiful, this movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, they did a good job with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Considering it was like land and sea.
Yeah. I do think out of all Marvel movies, this one really stands on its own well. Like, I think you could go and just see this movie.
Yeah, and she's a big advocate that you have to always see the
well, I will
movie.
get into this in our spoiler part, because I do think you should probably see Black Panther before you see this.
It never hurts to see the first one.
No.
But
I do think you could walk in and see this one.
But yes, I do agree, because I have people that are on both sides of the fence. People that have seen the first one and are going to see the second one, and ones that might not have seen the first one, and she's telling me, make sure they go see the first one. But I feel after seeing it, you could easily watch
I think
it,
you
because
could watch it.
I didn't remember.
Well, yeah, you don't have.
I mean, I remember, but not enough, to the point where I didn't know that one character was the same character because she changed her hair and I didn't recognize her.
Oh, yes. Nakia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I get, you know, in the first movie she did have like really short hair, and now she has like significantly longer hair, which does make sense. And I forgot, I should have probably briefed you on that, because we went with Dean. We've talked about him before, my cousin. He comes with all of us, but in the movie, every movie we've gone to see with Marvel, he gets in, he goes, so what do I need to know? What do you mean? Why do I have to always come and tell you people what you need to know before you see the movie?
Because you're the most knowledgeable.
I know, but I actually, I want to preface this too. I never see a trailer for these movies before we go in. Are you talking about Sissy and the creaking of the table?
No, you didn't hear her just throw her body down in the thud. Maybe because my feet are under the table.
Oh, you felt it?
There was a thud when she threw that body down.
God.
Sky.
The table's on its last legs if you've been here for other episodes of the
Sky.
podcast. What was I just saying? Oh, I don't watch the trailers for these movies. Yeah. I watched the initial one, and maybe like the second one, but I kind of stopped. I don't watch TV spots, and I don't watch.
How many other trailers are there?
Well, they put out all like those 101 TV spots or things and promotions. I don't watch those, because at that point, it's spoiling. To the point where I will say Okoye will get like an armor of sorts. And I'm saying this because if you look at the character posters, she is wearing this blue armor in the character posters. I didn't know, because I stopped looking at promotions. Like, I stopped looking at it. So, for me, it was like, ooh, she's getting armor. Where some people may go into this, seeing the promotions, and be like, I already knew she was getting armor. It's not fun. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My nose is stuffed.
You just pulled your nose up till, like, I could see the front of your teeth. And
Oh, you got
You went like this. You went, wait, let me see if I can do it. You see that little thing in between your... That's gotta hurt, folks. I don't know. Okay, anyway.
I'm sorry. We're getting distracted.
Redirect.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna go on.
Go on and do what? Well, okay, I will give a preference.
No, you've said it 3 different ways so far. Preference. This is not her word. We will say that.
I will say, if you have watched other Marvel movies and you're engrossed in the MCU, or you're just a real crier, bring some tissues. I cried. I know you probably didn't cry, but that's because you're trying to focus on knowing what's going on. I cried.
I have a little well up.
The first few minutes into it, I cried. One of my big things too, where it was kind of like it was so sad, and I don't feel like this is a spoiler, but you know, if you think this is a spoiler, then go be it. They did the Marvel intro card. They did it with all pictures of Chadwick
In pure silence.
Yeah, pure.
So like it was like
silence.
a moment. It was meant to be like a
moment of silence, which I just thought was so beautiful and
instead
nice.
of just like a typical like picture at the end and like, oh, this is dedicated to him. Like I thought this was just a much better way to do it.
Yeah, something nice, honoring.
It was very Marvel. So that's what I thought, you know, in the tradition of who they are.
Well, because we'll get into, well, I mean, obviously they're going to discuss the passing of T'Challa in this movie. And that's kind of how it starts. So to go from discussing this and then play the dum, 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 like some crazy Marvel intro, it just wouldn't have fit. And I think this fit really nice. Non-spoiler things as well. My favorite character, obviously there's, you know, the main characters, but Okoye was probably my favorite. She's just so funny. The dorm scene, which I think is already out, like you can see that online. That scene was really funny. She's just got a good sense of humor. Even in the first one, I loved her too.
I think it's funnier because she is so serious.
Yeah, to see her like.
So when she does throw something light in there, it's just like kind of like, oh my gosh, hilarious.
I do think Riri was a good addition to the cast. Like I think she was good.
I know her from somewhere.
The actress? I thought I heard this was one of her first few acting
I
roles.
feel like I've seen her in some other show.
Yeah, I saw some people saying that they just felt like she was thrown in there or just like she didn't fit, but I thought she was like I didn't think she was like not supposed to be there or she like took away from the movie. I thought she was a fine addition.
Yeah.
A good introduction to meet her. Most of the people that I saw were upset is because they're like, how is she younger than Tony Stark and like just as smart as him?
Because some people are geniuses like that. It's just, and she seems like she's
just a natural born genius. I hate those criticisms.
They also showed her in that light where they were showing her like charging her classmates for like running all
like,
and then when you see her in the room that she does all her work, she clearly has things like
I know people I think it's some weird thing that like it's like any little thing in the MCU goes wrong, it's like you're belittling Tony Stark in the starting of the MCU. What?
Well, no, because he set the like path for her, and she said a lot of the stuff that she was copying was from him.
And she's going to MIT, his alma mater.
Yeah, so it's
and
not like,
I'm sure
you don't go to MIT and you're stupid. Let's just say that.
But I think we'll see. I think the issue is, I think in Ironheart, it's going to explain how she got this stuff at MIT, and I think it's going to have to do with like the Tony Stark grant that he gave.
Yeah,
in
but
the
the thing is too, like I think she wasn't creating something new, but she was taking ripping off of his idea.
Base to
it's
start
not
with.
Like she was just like, oh look what I created, an Iron Girl or Man or whatever you want to call
Ironheart.
it, Ironheart, whatever you want to call it. But no, I'm saying I didn't know if it was like
No,
it wasn't out there yet that she had a title in the movie. But I'm just saying, like, she did it based on something that he has already created. So half the battle is gone because you already know what you're doing.
Yeah, you have a good basis.
He did it from scratch, but
with a box of scraps. Yeah. But I mean, it looks like she was building her first suit with a box of scraps as well. Yeah. So it doesn't even matter. I will say, if you're one that's like, I need 101 cameos, No Way Home style, you're gonna be like, this movie sucks, because it's not that. There are cameos, don't get me wrong, but
like what, 3?
2, 3, yeah.
I say 3.
Yeah, all right, we'll go with 3 because we took a minute to discuss. I guess we'll say 3. We'll get into it, but yeah, I don't think you'll be like, oh my god, this is like that because of that. You know, some people just need those cameos. Yeah. I'm not one. I'm okay. Like, I like one little one here and there, but you don't need 100 because truly, in my mind, this movie is a tribute movie, so it doesn't need that. Mm-hmm. And my last spoiler-free thought, this movie is going to get some kind of award, whether it's for acting or music. But
definitely for music. Their music was really good.
Oh my god. Well, I've already talked about this one in one of our weekly podcast episodes. Ludwig Göransson, sorry, I probably butchered his last name. He did the first Black Panther movie. He did Mandalorian. He did Boba Fett. He's done Creed. He is so good. And I know I believe he got a Grammy and an Oscar for the Black Panther, like, first movie score. I would not be surprised. I did listen to it again today, the score, after seeing the movie. We Know What You Whisper is probably the best one off of it. It's the one from when she's giving the UN speech. Mm-hmm. That song there, it's just really good. It's something about that music that's like,
Yeah.
it revs you up, like,
Yeah.
it just fits with it. As far as acting, probably Angela Bassett and Letitia Wright would probably get something kind of award. Queen Ramonda and Sherry. They put their all into it, those two especially. Like, everybody did, but, you know, they really acted their butt off. All right. Spoiler thought time. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. You're like, well, because I feel like most of your thoughts are probably spoilers, so you know, let's just jump to it. I tried to give a little something free. Oh, did this just some conflict? All right. Well, do you want to start with a spoiler thought since I started spoiler free, or no?
Well, obviously, you know, he's dead.
Well, yeah, obviously.
I mean, we know that. But they went with something simple, you know, like just an illness,
just
which
an
I think
illness,
was appropriate because, you know, I mean, we were saying before we got there, like, well, what could it be? In a fight, you know.
Because then people would be like, I want to see the fight. It shouldn't,
or
it didn't have to be
I
a
feel like
big
it would
thing.
just be too much to explain, and, you know, or like getting shot down in a ship or something. It would just be all too much to explain. Like, well, where was he going? I mean, this just makes sense because, you know,
Yeah.
they said it was real life, so, you know, don't
just something.
do something crazy.
Simple.
And it's the most logical thing where she's a doctor, she's trying to save him, she can't save him, so now she's going to torture herself, you know, and so I mean that's I totally get that. And of course, no, I don't think it's a shock that the sister can't handle it and the mother can, because the mother's just much stronger. But,
Well, yeah. I don't know how old she is at this point because...
Who, the sister?
Yeah, especially because of the blip. I know she was blip for the 5 years, so it's like, it's so confusing when you try to add blip ages into it, because it's like, well, do you take 5 years off or do you keep the 5 years? Because, you know, technically it should be this. So obviously, you know, there's an age thing as well as...
But she hasn't aged in the 5 years.
You don't age in the 5 years. No, so you come...
I guess she's still whatever she was.
I guess you're still what you left. I know there's people that said you're still what you are, and then some people tried to age themselves up, so it's kind of like... I don't know what. On top of, though, doing his death, they also, which was kind of shocking to me, they killed the mother, Queen Ramonda.
Oh, wow, you went way into it there, didn't you?
Yeah, well, there's no true order here. We're going into the movie?
Yeah, that was a shocker.
That was...
But, yeah, that was definitely one that I didn't see coming.
No.
I think that's, not that it's good to kill the mom off, but I do commend TV shows or movies that don't have a problem doing the hard stuff like that, because if you didn't kill, like we were saying this, if you didn't kill the mom off, then the sister would obviously have no reason to ascend to the throne, obviously, and then no reason to feel like she has anything to truly avenge, because her brother died from a natural illness, so there's no, like, even though the whole movie is based on this new guy, Namor, whatever his name is.
Oh my god.
They're aggressive out there. Wow.
What the hell?
It's a tough world out there. Even though, like, it's based on you know, him coming and, like, you know, ransacking her village and all like that. Like, that's still not enough to go, like, hog wild crazy, because the mom, I think, has been instilling in her, like, that's not who we are. We have peace. Because even they show all these soldiers coming in and attacking one of their, like, what do they call them?
Outposts.
Outreach places. And even, like, you thought they were killing them, like, really, in a certain respect, but it wasn't. Like, they were stunning them with whatever the swords are.
Yeah, because if you look at the spear, it almost, it has like electricity on it, so it's like more of like a taser.
Yeah, because then when she was doing that speech that you were talking about, she came, they walked them all right in, and they all looked totally fine. Yeah. So obviously they're not people that are looking to do harm to other people, but, you know.
Even for people that have
tried to steal it was going to have to be something really bad for her to, like, go back at this guy and become Black Panther and the whole bit. Oh, there's a spoiler. She's Black Panther, in case you didn't know.
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of people did know, and it was kind of the most obvious
Who else could it have really been?
Choice, because here's my thing. One thing they always talk about the Black Panther is that they come from the descendants of it. So it wouldn't make sense to give it to somebody who isn't, I guess, a descendant of it in a sense.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's the last one. It makes sense. Obviously, I know people are going to listen and be like, she's not technically the last one. We'll get into that in a minute. But so it would make sense that she would take on this mantle, because really I don't see anybody else who would. I mean, maybe Nakia, but she kind of has her whole own thing going. And
Which one was Nakia again?
the one that you were like, oh, she had short hair in the first movie.
Oh yeah, but she's not really.
Like, she's not involved enough, I think, in Wakanda.
She's not
she has
really
her own thing.
blood.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, that was the only other person that I could truly see. And Okoye is so focused on the on being a part of the Dora Milaje that it's not like, you know, giving her own suit now makes more sense than making her.
And she's the one that created all the suits and stuff, wasn't she?
Who?
The sister.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So.
But back to what we were talking about the mom. What I was gonna say was, for me, when watching these scenes, it wasn't even as sad as, like, you know, losing the characters. It was like, it was the sister's like reaction to them that was like really what you made that was like making me like start to like cheer, because it was just like that. It was genuinely, the performances were so well that it was like, you know, what was making me well up a little bit in the eyes. So
That's
I
for
said.
sure.
And also the details they had on both of their coffins were like so like they were so thought about, like these little details that, like, you know, it had his mask and the arms crossed, and then the mom's was like her with her
well, they
crown
said that too. Like there was a lot of stuff, you know, it was so much to watch like that. It was like, so to watch like these people do the breakdowns, it like helped because there was so many stuff you didn't even see. Like they were saying, one of the guys said with the smoke that was behind them at the like place when they were taking them up, it was in an X, which is like represents the crossing of the arms and all. It's like they had like a lot of like attention to detail for sure.
Little things you may just
not notice,
you know,
at all
if you're trying to focus on the movie. One thing too, we just mentioned him, Namor, which typically I thought leading up to this, his name was Namor, which it is in the comics, it's pronounced Namor. But I thought it was so interesting that they changed it to Namor, meaning no love, which I was like, that is such like a good idea and a new interpretation on the character, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's interesting because when he first appears on the scene, I was like, oh, I thought this was the bad guy, but he doesn't start out that way. Even though you see his people. Well, I didn't know that he was with those people. I just assumed it, though. Attacking a ship. But they were attacking a ship because, wow, there's vibranium in other places. So there's a shocker. And, like, I liked how they all reacted to it at Wakanda. Like, they were just like, the one girl, you just said her name.
Okoye?
Okoye, yeah, she was like, everything that we stood for and everything that we thought is, like, seems wrong now because... if there's
like a second meteor
that hit, or you know, it floated somewhere down the river and landed somewhere else. Just put your foot down and you'll be fine. She doesn't want to put her foot on that toy.
Well, I don't know why she doesn't put it in front of her. What's her beef, sissy? One thing you were saying though about him, where you were like, at first he wasn't really a villain. I do love one of those villains that are like, they're doing the right thing but going about it in the wrong way. Like, yes, his motives are right. Like, even when you think about Thanos, like, what he's doing, it technically makes sense. Like, people, like, he tried to give people more food. It didn't work because people are selfish and greedy. So the next option is wrong, but killing half a life would reset it and make the world thrive, which... Oh, my computer locked. Which it did make the world thrive. We saw it in Endgame. The whales were back in the Hudson River and things like that. So it's like, those kind of villains are always so much more interesting than just somebody
honestly,
who's
I still think
upset.
even though he wanted them to agree with him to do what, like to go to war with him, I still like, he wasn't really bad because he was still treating, you know, the princess well, and you know, they dressed her in a nice outfit and the whole bit, and he showed her all around his
Talokan.
What would you even call that? Like, not planet, like
no,
country,
like his. I guess you could call it country, city.
I don't know what it was.
Where they live.
Yeah, but and then, you know, he basically told her how he was created, and you know, gave her the whole. It was very, you know, wholesome. You didn't think anything, but then you knew the minute they sent someone to go find her, you knew somebody was getting shot, and there was going to have to be a trigger point that was going to get him.
And I still
to go crazy.
I think also, Sissy's crazy. Hold on, let her walk away. Also, one thing we were talking about the get shot. One thing she's like, oh, let me put the beads and heal the woman. I don't think that would have done any different, even if they kept the woman alive or like they saved her life, because it's still the idea of like anybody coming in and messing with them. Like, they still shot them and then saved them.
That was a big thing for them. It's like people knowing where they are, and you know, Yeah, I don't think it helped that they let her die, that she died.
No, yeah, that definitely wasn't added to the cause.
But like you said, the visuals on this and stuff like that, like when they came into her village, and even like the fight on the fight on the bridge and stuff, like when they attacked with like the water bomb, he had these water bombs.
Yeah.
That's what he killed the mom with too. Like they were just like something else when they. Like,
I was gonna say that scene, I guess you call it like a car chase scene with Okoye, Shuri, and Riri was so good. I loved the first one that they did. I think it was in Korea, with Okoye, Nakia, and T'Challa in that one. I loved her like I love when they shoot the spear through the car and they use it to like drive it. I just thought those scenes were so good. I was so excited when I saw it again because now it's different. You know, now we had a car, a bike, and like an Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
And I was like...
It was like 3 different perspectives.
Yeah, and then it ended with a great fight with Okoye, and I can't remember the guy's name.
Was that a Tutu or a Kutu or...
I can't remember what his name was.
A Tuum or something like that. It was something UT. I can't remember. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I would know that name, but...
That's the one that stuck with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. A Tuum?
Yeah.
A Tuum. Yeah, you were pretty close. Wow. That one character name stuck with you, but not any of the other characters.
I don't know why.
No, that fight scene was so great. I like when they fight with, not just this, but I like when people fight with the swords and things like that, because it's more fun for me than people just punching with fists and things like that. I always like when there's like a prop, I guess you could say, involved. So that was like really exciting. And since we just mentioned Riri, I will say, I didn't love the suit that she ends up making in Wakanda. I liked the Mark 1 suit because it was a nice little homage to Tony, but it just seemed really clunky and big, like in a way. Like I feel like Iron Man suits, even though he's wearing a big metal iron suit, it's very like sleek. Hers just looked kind of like clunky.
Well, maybe it's what she had to work with there, and who knows how she was trying to protect herself. Because
it was made out of vibranium.
Well, yeah, after they fought him, they knew how strong they were because.
Which one?
The main one from the dermatology.
Okoye.
When she came back and she had lost the princess, like she was telling them like, I fought one and I stabbed 3 of them and they should have died.
Yeah.
And they just got right back up. Like I never even touched them. So like they knew how intensely strong they were.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Well, and then also, I think then when Trey comes back with Nakia and Riri, they kind of now have seen what this world that he has created. He brought the sun to the ocean for his people. So it's like, they're not really messing around, obviously. But I am glad, though, they did make her kind of give the suit back to, obviously, Wakanda, because she didn't want her going out there with the vibranium suit and things like that. But I do think her first real suit should be made in her own show where we can see her going to building it and things like that. I just think that will be, that's where it should really start, is in her own thing, getting to build her first suit. One big surprise, which I had no clue, and my jaw dropped a little bit when I saw her walk on screen. Val, Allegra DeFontaine, what was it? I can't remember her name, but she's got a long name, that woman. She was such a surprise. She's now the director of the CIA. And
this one anyway.
Well, yeah, I was not expecting it at all. And then they said that she was Ross's wife, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, well, ex-wife.
Ex-wife. But I was just like, it was such a shock. And here goes Cooper. Oh my god, Cooper is so rude. We're like, oh, I think he's done, and I was helping you clean a little dye off the side of your face. And then what did he do? He started scratching as soon as I pressed play. He's so rude. What was I just gonna say? There he goes again. No, yeah, she was a shock, but I think seeing how high up she is with the CIA shows how, like, the Thunderbolts are going to come into play now. And I think also they didn't do not many, but, like, they didn't set anything huge up for the MCU outside of their own characters. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no.
Like, for example, in She-Hulk, they set up Hulk. I mean, I get it's a Hulk, but I'm just saying, like, they didn't go out of their way and try to add these storylines that needed to be forced and added in. The Thunderbolts, yes, they gave it like a little bit that, look at how high a power this woman is. Like, it
that's
makes
really
sense. He is just so simply rude. What were we gonna say? Sorry.
I don't know.
We were talking about the setting them up in the MCU. I thought you were gonna say something on that. All right, well, we'll go. Another big cameo, we'll say, is Killmonger shows up. I'm not as surprised with him because so many people were like, oh, it's going to be Killmonger. He's going to come back and wear the suit. Which I was like, I don't think so. I don't think they're gonna do some kind of
No, 'cause
reincarnation plot in this whole movie.
I don't think people were really.
They liked him, but I don't think they would want him
Yeah,
to
no.
carry the mantle. And it just makes more sense for her to carry the mantle. But it was nice to see him show up again, because I wasn't as surprised, because I did feel like he was going to show up in some extent, not in the astral plane. That was not where I thought I would see him, which was interesting.
Yeah, but he's dead, right?
He's dead, so that's why he's in the astral plane.
yeah.
But I'm just saying, what are they doing? They sound like they are causing a chaos.
He's dragging the ottoman all around.
Oh my god, every time I go to press play, he like acts out again. We have a little ottoman, a little one, and there's stuff in that ottoman. He's fully dragged it out to the middle of the living room. Honestly, he's almost got it in the kitchen.
No. But he's doing
He's closer to the kitchen than he is almost the living room. All right. The end credits, I guess. Not the end, like
It's the end credit.
No, not like the post credit scene. I'm saying the part where they put all the actors' names and like the big titles, just that part. I guess it is the end credits.
Yeah.
It's the visual credits, I guess you would say. Mm-hmm. I thought those were so nice. If you pay attention to it, which I didn't see Eric Voss talk about this, but if you watch, it's burning of the funeral clothes, and then at the end, it reveals the new Black Panther suit under the funeral clothes, which I just thought was nice.
Yeah.
I know, I feel like I should be like, it's symbolic for, but I can't figure it out in my head, but I know it's symbolic for something.
Rebirth.
Yeah,
probably.
rebirth, like moving on, showing on that she's moved on to Black Panther. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of those words. I thought about it all day and I couldn't figure out what it was, but I know it meant something. But I just thought it was like a really nice. She's done.
No, I just had this open for really no reason.
Okay,
whatsoever.
you
Go
just
ahead.
you just bounce off whatever I say. Now the post-credit scene, which there was only one. There was a message at the end, which we'll just say, so you don't have to stick around. If you, I don't know why you would be watching the spoiler part to stick around, but it just says that Black Panther will return. Which, listen, she's looking at me like this, but here's the thing. So we're kind of late to the MCU compared to other people. We started with Endgame. When Endgame came out, we said, we're going to watch them all, and we're going to go see that big movie in theaters.
We didn't say that. Somebody
That's what I said
that,
that.
and then I had to watch them all.
Oh my god! Sorry, after Cooper just fell trying to get up on the couch there, at the end of Endgame, I made her wait all the way to the end, because if you watch the end of Endgame, there's like a ding. That's Tony's like hammer. That's what people said in the first movie. And she still hates it to that day that I made her wait all those credits, because Endgame had a lot of credits. So yeah.
For a ding.
But hey, at least this one had something written, so that's positive.
Yeah.
But the actual
I could have told you what it was going to be.
Teen said the same thing, but I didn't care to listen. The actual post-credit scene, though, she ends up going to Haiti, and she's gonna finally burn her funeral clothes, and it cuts. We see the credits that I was saying, and then you see Nakia walk up with a boy, and as soon as I saw her,
T'Challa has a son.
oh my god. She just had to get that in there. What the hell?
You were really dragging it out.
No, I was gonna say my opinion.
Oh God, you can do it.
I was gonna say, as soon as I saw the boy walk up, I was like, "That's a son," and I was like, "Watch him be named T'Challa as well." And then they were like, "No, that's not his name." And then she was like, "Well, that's not my real name." And I said,
Well, he asked her, I've heard you can keep really good secrets or something, and she says, "Yes, I can." And then he says, "Well, I'll tell you the truth.
"Yeah, his name.
That's
is
my
actually
Haitian name, but my real name is
T'Challa."
yeah."
So yeah, that was the little post-credit scene. Obviously,
Yeah.
now setting up another Black Panther way down in the future. I don't think anytime soon. This kid's super young, and the whole point of
No, because otherwise, how would you even?
no. I mean, time jump again.
I mean, the
but
only thing they could do is have him, like, if they were to do something with it, they could have him now in it a little older, maybe like a year or two older, where they're starting to train him or something.
Maybe,
perhaps.
but
Like
they did keep him in. So he's probably about like 6. So he probably had this kid right before Thanos attacked, is what I would say, and because he definitely did not blip this kid.
You think that kid was 6?
It's hard to tell. I don't know kids' ages by just looking
think
at
he
them.
was 6.
Older? It's been 6 years since the blip happened. So maybe 7?
Yeah.
Okay, 7. So maybe he had him a year before
7
Thanos
is like
attacked.
2nd grade.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I look at children. I
First
don't. I don't
is
want to
too
know
young.
their
He
age.
was
They're,
too-
I'm like,
yeah.
a kid. So I don't care to know kids' age. I think we're too far out. I think they're just setting up a line so people could be like, oh, now Cooper's going to the bathroom. Could it be any more?
Well, I
rude?
think it's also like a little ray of hope for people that like it's. If for those that don't like the person I ran in contact with today did not like that she was Black Panther. So for those people that don't like that, it's a little ray of hope that perhaps it will go back to his son, and
Yeah.
he'll take on the mantle of being, Black Panther or whatever. So
Yeah, I could see. I mean, I saw some people saying with the two Avengers movies, something with Kang and pulling the kid from the future and putting him here. I don't really know. We'd have to wait and see. But for right now, Shuri is the Black Panther, and if you're upset with that because it's a girl, then you got to move on and get a life. Quite frankly, in my opinion, that's my opinion. So I probably should have done this in the beginning, but this is a little bit of a spoiler thought. So maybe you watched the movie already, but you've never watched another thing from the MCU, which is kind of crazy to think that there's people who have never. Here's what I would say. I think Black Panther would probably be the most important one to watch. But then I was like, well, if you watch Black Panther, then it's going to create questions because Civil War is technically before Black Panther, and they do reference it, but not enough that you would have to go and watch that movie. But I think because of watching Black Panther, you might be like, I have some questions now, so then you go back and watch that. But Black Panther, I would definitely recommend because Ross does return, and you're probably like, why do they care so much about this guy, and why does he care so much about them? He does reference that they saved his life, but if you don't know to the extent, I
couldn't remember how they saved his life.
Yeah, he died and almost died, and they ended up saving him. So it's
remember it vaguely, but I don't remember
but
how
it's
they
kind of
saved him.
I mean, you can get past with that one. And then also, Killmonger showing up to Shuri is kind of a big one. I know they reference and say, oh, they're cousins, but, he was the whole villain for Black Panther.
Yeah, but they did hit on that
Enough.
A couple of, on different areas and stuff. So, you did definitely get that he was not a good guy.
I think you could watch it without watching anything. If I were what should you watch? Because I saw somebody say Infinity War and Endgame. I don't think you need either of those to know,
Yeah.
Maybe just, if somebody tells you and you know somebody watched the MCU, just be like, what was the blip? And they'll explain it to you about the time jump thing, because that's the only part you might need to know from those movies.
Yeah, but even that, the one girl said when you disappeared for 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, unless
they kind of, there was
enough
points where they were, giving you an idea of, maybe you don't know exactly how it happened or why it happened, but you know that they left. So the blip was where they left for 5 years. So they did go into that. So now, what's your rate for this movie?
All right. I would give it a 4.5 out of 5. I like to score my movies out of 5. And I will say, listen, this is my first initial reaction. I'll watch a movie sometimes and I'll go back and be like, I don't remember it being as good as it was. For example, Iron Man 3. I remember Iron Man 2. It was one of the Iron Mans. I remember being a lot better than when I just rewatched it not too long ago. So it may change. So once it's on Disney Plus, I'll probably rewatch it and I'll let you know if my score changed. But I don't think it will.
That it would go down?
Down or up? I'm a 4.5 or a 5.
I don't think it would go down.
I don't think it would go down. I
think it was pretty good. I mean, I'd give it a 4 because, there's always room for improvement.
That's what my 0.5 is, okay?
But, I mean, I think it kept you, for a long movie, my thing was that I was afraid I would fall asleep.
You were going to get Eternals 2.0.
We all know who I am. Let's be real. But it had just enough action with just little storytelling, then some action, then
good pacing.
It was definitely it did very good pacing on this movie, so they kept it going, and you didn't get
because I think Eternals is a good movie. It's just it had too big of slow parts.
It was too much backstory that they were trying to get in there, and it was too much.
They didn't pace it as well as this. So we do have Dean, who we went to go see the movie with. His scores here. He likes to rate it out of 10, but I also forced him to give me a 5. So he said out of 5, he'd give it a 3.5 or a 4, but if it's out of 10, he'd give it a 7 or a 7.5, which I think that is drastically different to rate it out of 10.
He's a tough moviegoer because
we got out of the movie and he goes, wait, I thought Dr. Doom was supposed to be in this. What do you mean? Why would the hell would Dr. Doom be in this?
Yeah, he goes to see things with different intentions, and he likes these movies, I think. I just don't think he likes them like a typical person that's been waiting for Marvel movies. He acts like he does, but I don't think he does.
I'll also say I look at movies from a different point of view, as I went to school for photography and film and stuff like that. So, it's automatically a little bit different when I go and watch, because I'm looking, and I will say this is very important. One big thing Marvel movies struggle with, you probably won't notice this, but especially in phase 4, movie-wise, not shows as much, the green screen starts to look a little weird towards the last half of the movie, because that's the last part they're working on. So usually it's more rushed, not enough time to fix it and make it look nice. I didn't feel like this had that issue. I never really see it. Also, when I see it on the big screen as much, like where I'm like, ooh, this looks a little silly and a little goofy compared to when I watched it on the TV. Now, I don't know if that's my TV that makes it look a little wonky the second time I watch it.
Oh, it could be.
But I don't know. I never noticed it in theaters. People will be like, this looks so weird. Like, there's a clip, especially, I will agree, in Black Widow. We didn't see that on the big screen, but when I see people share this clip of Yelena, like when she's like taking down the Red Room or whatever, it does look a little weird. She stands out a little bit against the sky, but like, I don't know, like those stuff, like I don't always notice it right away. For me, a movie's good as long as the visual effects don't take me out of it. Like if I'm sitting there and I go, that looks weird on my first watch, then I'm like, probably should have worked a little bit harder with it. But most Marvel movies, I'm never like, oh, that took me out of it. That looked so bad. Because I know a lot of people criticize the first Black Panther movie for the fight with him and Killmonger when they're fighting down on the train where they're like shutting off the rails and stuff like that. A lot of people say it looks a little wonky. It does, but not enough where I'm like, this looks horrible. I'm never going to watch this movie again. I've watched that movie like 3 times, so really. Yeah, see, Cooper's agreeing. Cooper's like, shut it down. I need to eat dinner. Ow, I just pinched my hand on my laptop. But yeah, so that was our first ever little movie review. We're actually going to review 10 movies at the end of this month. All Anne Hathaway movies. So hopefully we'll do good. Those will not have a spoiler-free section because half of those movies are like,
oh yeah,
almost going on 20
if
years
you haven't
old.
seen some of these, then you got problems.
Pretty much. Speaking of that, every Friday we post our reaction to Andor, so that will be up for you guys on Friday to check out. And on Saturdays we usually post a housewife of sorts. This week we're doing OC season 3, and on Mondays we post our weekly podcast where we talk about the shows that we watch separately, and we do a little bit in the beginning where we talk about some news, and we also spin a wheel. And if you like this, you can give us a 4 or a 5. A 4 if we have to improve. A 5 if you know we're going to improve. Might as well just give it a 5 because we're always trying to better ourselves constantly. I'm forcing her to have meetings about bettering the podcast, and she's probably sick of it. Make sure you also subscribe and follow. Subscribe and follow, depending on what platform you're on, and turn on the notifications so you don't miss an episode. Because what if we put out a secret bonus episode? You don't want to miss it.
Could happen.
Obviously. And if you're on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Don't give us a thumbs down. Instead, leave a comment telling us how we can improve. Let us know what you guys thought of the movie as well. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for listening or watching. Oh, he stole your line.
Hit the button.